We are unmuted.
They can hear me.
I don't know why I'm answering the box.
That's why they don't want to sit together. Separate the loud people.
I don't know.
Are they brothers and sisters? I don't need a microphone.
Yep.
Bless you.
Salud.
Bless you.
We're here for you.
Tissues behind you there. Yes. Know that. But you know that.
To do that, still does it sometimes.
She knows what it is. She's the only new person.
She says she's coming.
So that couple minutes. If not, or-
Well, I didn't know the meeting was starting.
Oh, Lord.
That hands, you'll share a rate.
Kids to you later.
Yep.
We don't want to discuss it.
Nope, just wanted you to know they were there for you.
Okay, it's now 6 o'clock and I'm going to call the meeting to order. That's those who are able to please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We need for a motion to approve the agenda.
We need to make an amendment.
Yes, once we have a motion.
Make a motion to, the agenda?
Yes. I'll second.
We have a motion by Jamie, seconded by Jim to approve the agenda. I would like to ask that we make one amendment to the agenda to allow Jeff Howe to speak when we get to the cross-country discussion. If you would.
I make a motion to approve. Jeff speaks.
I'll second it.
A motion by Jamie, seconded by Jim. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Comments from the public? All right, treasurer's report. Treasurer's report is in your packet. The only note to the treasurer's report that came out of budget was that we did receive some tax funding and we are now short-term borrowing has again been paid off. We are positive as of the end of June, which will be the end of the fiscal year. However, Laura did have a few items that she still had to figure out before we have a final budget at the end of the year.
Make a motion to accept the budget as is.
I have a motion by Jim, seconded by Kelly, to approve the treasurer's report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carries. President's report and correspondence. I have one piece of correspondence that pertains to a closed item meeting, and I will address it at that time. The only other thing I want to say is I did receive correspondence from WASB today, and they are planning the school board fall meetings. It looks like our district will be having one in Rice Lake in October. So please watch your email and see if that date will work for anyone. And if so, we need to let Lisa and Kevin know so that they can plan for that meeting that night. And that is all I have. Dr. Shetler.
Okay, just in your package, just want to share the thank you letter that came from Children's Wisconsin. This is, I'm gonna let Ryan speak to it just a little bit because the donation is on behalf of the All-Star game where our students participate and then they fundraise and receive donations. So just wanted to make you aware of that. I don't know if you want to say anything about it or.
The game was 2 weeks ago. Tayden and I were the only two representatives of Siren. Earlier in the spring, the Lions, instead of donating part of our minimum, they covered the entire fee, which was the $1,500, which is the letter that Coach or Mr. Shetler has. And on top of that, Tayden and I also raised more, so we both were over $1,000 donated towards the game. So the letter from them, 1,500, I believe, is what it says. But that was the original donation from the Lions, which we put in to our account and then paid to Children's.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Just the other thing is that letter that we did generate as a board to our legislators was sent. You know, since they're not, we'll send another one as we get closer to session too. Okay.
Anyone have any questions for Dr. Shetler? Mrs. Herman.
We are once again the recipients of the state award for Wisconsin RTI and PBIS Center. We have, at the elementary level, we have received silver in behavior, reading, and in math. We did try to go for gold this year. However, we were caught in that at least 2 years with evidence. So it was kind of a rush job. We didn't think we'd make gold anyway, but we're still pretty excited we've got silver. So we're moving forward with our RTI and PBIS. I believe one of Becky Wickland's goals is that we're gold after next year. So, and DLC grant update. We received the DLC grant for another 5 years. We are able to get $80,000 a year. We will not be having middle school and high school as part of the grant in this 5-year cycle. It was difficult to get staff to go beyond the elementary ages. So we went with just our pre-K through grade 5. Students will still receive dinner and snack after school. And Violet Trenter will still be our head of DLC also, our after school program.
You mentioned that you're getting 80,000 per year. Is that the same as we have been getting, or is that more or less?
That is less. We were receiving 100,000 because we had it across the grade levels. It's based on the attendance, and because our attendance was lower in the past few years, we weren't able to get the 100,000.
And then part of this, the food, DLC has to pay for that food, or was some of that food with this past year COVID, like stuff being paid for? Was that included, or DLC's always covered? The
DLC is always covered. Yeah, that was part of it.
Any other questions for Mrs. Herman? Thank you. Ms. Camp, or Miss Camp.
So the high school is also a recipient of the state RTI and PBIS awards in the category of behavior. We did receive silver, reading also silver, and then the bronze in math. And so they're recognizing Siren High School for the efforts in implementation of this equitable multi-level systems of support in these areas. So that's exciting, and we will continue to work in that this coming school year. So just getting ready for the new school year. I've just been working to get acclimated and adjusted here, getting to know a lot of staff and community members. I've been meeting with the administrative team, and then working on hiring and recruiting staff for some positions that we have. We're also working to finalize master schedule with those things in mind, and then meeting with various community organizations, Health and Human Services, and then Northwoods Technical. So the update that I have from Northwoods Technical, Jeannie Germain, who is their outreach person, came in to sit down and go over what we have currently in place with our contracts with Northwoods Technical for available classes and things like that with our students. She talked a lot about the CTE incentive grant, where we get funding for students that are able to achieve the certification through them. And then just gave me some information about new possible programs or coursework to where we could kind of maybe expand that. And that some of those options moving forward in the next few years may be available fully online as well. We also talked about the possibility of in the future having 4 classes that could be like dual enrollment credit with them, looking at our staffing and trying to determine if we have eligible teachers for that. And then there is going to be a new cutting edge health education center that they're opening up in Shell Lake. And that's going to bring a lot more opportunities for future nursing students in our communities.
Anyone have any questions for Ms. Campbell? Thank you. Denise?
It's that time of the year again. I'm just letting you know that I have to post our annual notices for special education. One is the child find notice and the other one is our referral and evaluation procedures. They're both on my website. I'll have to put them on the district Facebook page. And we also have our annual notice for education of homeless children, which is will also be on the Facebook page, and there's a link to that on my website as well. Next week, I will be sending out letters to the families that were identified as homeless last year to see if they still meet the eligibility criteria this year. And I've already been in contact, a couple people have already contacted Carrie, and I we do have a couple other unaccompanied homeless youth that we can just.
I seen a document, something to do with the restraint program. Have you gotten new guidelines on restraint program?
Seclusion and restraint went through an update March of 21. With how we have to document things differently for the state. And so, yes, they still have to, we have been doing seclusion and restraint, which we have to do with a few students last year. I do have those documents in my office, the numbers and the reports will be coming out in August.
Okay, and the documents that I seen, and they came, I believe, to Health and Human Services, I get quite a bit of documents from them due to my affiliation with them, and had to do with discrimination and the use of restraints with children with certain disabilities.
No,
You haven't seen anything on that yet?
I haven't seen anything on
Okay.
that, but we don't restrain, we don't. In this district, all students are created equal. They are all equal. We haven't had any issues with having to restrain students. I know that some people might put a restraint on a student to keep them in a chair, to tie them in the high chair. That's
Oh,
for
no,
safety.
that's not
that-
the type of restraints. they do.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, we haven't used any. The only restraints that we have used are CPI trained staff for moving students out of an area where they may be hurting themselves or others into a safe spot where they can kind of regroup
Okay.
again. Yeah.
I just want to be real
No.
careful on that.
Yeah, oh no, trust me, I am.
Okay.
We were just talking about who has to go through CPI training here
Oh,
next
okay.
month, so.
Does anyone else have any questions for Denise? Oh, all right, Shara. I see you back there.
I just have Title VI update, so, the Title VI Indian Education Grant was approved, 2 weeks ago. So we're ready to go for the school year, very similar to last school year. We're in year 2 of a cycle, so our goals pretty much stay the same. Money stayed very similar, and that number did stay very similar. So perfect, kind of a nice little appeal.
Anyone have any questions for Tara? Thank you. All right, we will move on then to the approval of the minutes. Motion to approve the minutes from June 28th. A motion by Kelly, seconded by Dave, to approve the regular school board meeting minutes from June 28th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. New business, ESER-3 review and input. This is a requirement by the state that we put this on here. Does anyone have any new comments about the ESER funding? Okay. Cross country, Jeff, we're gonna let you go ahead and talk first.
All right. My name is Jeff Howell, one of the Saturn track coaches. I'm trying to bring cross country back to our district. It's been a long time since we had it here. Not trying to take any of these kids away from football or volleyball. But we have a lot of athletes that are just sitting on the sideline or sitting on playing video games at home or whatnot. And I think it's time we look at bringing it back. One of the other coaches, Tim, has volunteered to help, and we're just looking to bring another sport back to offer more for the kids. I don't know if they included that in your packet there, but we ran some budget numbers, and it's without any coaching fees, it's fairly inexpensive. Now granted, we don't know. I mean, we tried to do a survey the last second to last day of school, I think it was, or last day. And it was, we had a few kids sign up, maybe about 8 or 9. But once we know what's gonna happen, I think we need 5 boys, 5 girls to actually count at a meet eventually. But our first year, if we did it, if we got it approved and we're able to start this year, we're too late to make it an official sport, but they will still let us compete at any of the cross-country meets as a JV team, and our points wouldn't count. But we'd always get some experience and kind of get the ball rolling. And then it could be approved officially with the school and WIAA by February 5th or 6th or somewhere right in there. And then we could be an official sport and actually compete for points next fall.
Are they allowed to place? We just can't-
What's that?
Are they allowed to place?
They'll place, they'll know they placed, but
You know,
they'll get nothing for it. I mean, the only thing you'd get for it, it would be a chance to move on to, a regional, sectional, state kind of thing. But
so
they would
can't-
not be eligible for that.
Cannot go to regionals. Can't go to
No, we would not be able to do that. We'd be strictly a JV this year. Yeah. Not much we can do about that right now, so. But hopefully we get a start, and even if we don't have a lot of kids, by the time we do it for this fall and the kids start talking and see how much fun it is, that, then we can start promoting it a little bit more for the following year.
I would do if you really want to get it going, I would do like a slideshow or something in the auditorium and just show old runners and stuff like that, because I go to a lot of cross country meets.
Me too.
I'm very involved with Schooners, and I think it's awesome. I don't know why Simon's not more into it, but if you did like a slideshow and just talked about it in the auditorium, I bet you'd get more than the second to last day of school where everybody's thinking about
Yeah, right. It was too late. Should have brought it in sooner. But the track season going on, we just didn't do it till towards the end. But yeah, we used to have it. It's been a long time.
Can't do a co-ed with like Frederick.
No, we can't, because if we try and co-op with anybody, we bump their numbers up.
Sure.
Even if we didn't have many, and then they move to a different division and they're not interested.
Yeah, ideally
And
that.
I wouldn't be in either, if it was the same case.
Just curious. I don't know how it works.
They won't take us.
Nobody runs here.
Any other questions? Otherwise, yeah, we're just looking to bring it back and try and offer more. Looking to do it just to do it.
Let me know if you need anything.
Okay,
I'll help.
all right,
I'll help try to sell it.
all right.
I'll make a motion, we get the kids running on the recommendation that we made.
I have a motion by Jim, seconded by Dave, discussion. I'm gonna tell you, I have some concerns. Only because we've tried starting sports before and they're not sustainable. So I guess at this point, my vote would be that we not make it a sport, but we allow them to have a running club this fall. And if they participate, that's fine, but with the purpose of finding out if it's a sustainable program before we bring it back as an official sport.
Sure, why wasn't it sustainable before?
Numbers.
I think if you just push it a little bit more,
Well,
but I get what you're saying.
numbers can be an issue, and as we know, we already have other sports. If we're gonna make it sustainable, we really have to bring it back middle school and high school, because it does, you can't start as, I mean, you can, but not if you're gonna be any good, you know what I'm saying? So I think that we should bring it back as a self-funded club for a year, and if it can show that there's interest, then we can discuss in February making an actual sport. That would be my opinion,
So
but
if,
I'm one person.
so if it's a club, he would not be able to utilize the school vans to go to meets. Would you even be able to go to meets if you were just a club?
Oh, no, I don't know.
I
Well,
don't think it's much
typically,
difference than it.
They would have
What
to
he's
pay their
talking
own way.
about is basically a club almost as it is.
They would have to pay their own way for the transportation. Like we would, if the van's available, it's something we
Correct.
would offer, but they would have to fundraise and do that. If it's a club.
That'd be the only difference.
And
So
then
we're
what else,
talking $600.
what else would it change in the competition? You'd still need 5 girls and 5 boys. How would this
Well,
all be
you
done?
just need to have at least 5. And really, you don't even have to have 5. You just can't have a team.
Sure, I'm just trying to figure out if this would hold us back if we decided to go with it, or what it would do to being at a club instead of just pushing it.
I think the club would hold us back.
That's the only thing I'm worried about, is if the club holds us back.
I think it would
Because
go
I'll bet
this
you what
way.
really happened is, we had a track and field team, and we did a real crappy job of pushing it. But I think if we pushed it a little bit better, because running is a lot more fun than I think people realize, they just don't want to get up and go. So once you get going, and these guys start feeling confident in themselves, you get a lot more runner. I think it would help the whole sports program. Don't look like that, Carmen. I like running. You know, I like watching.
I ran for many years myself,
So I just.
but I
it
just
would
think
be
that we're pushing it. I think that the time frame is not right. The other kids have already started. Practice has started at all the other schools, am I correct? No cross country has started.
They don't start till from the 5th or 8th of August.
You do your individual running all summer long, and then you start somewhere else.
And,
So-
and none of these kids in any of these schools with individual running on their own anyway.
Some
So
do.
you-
Yeah, I do know some that do, so. I
I'm
would say that's
saying
not
in
true.
general, but I'm all about not doing it. But I get what your concerns are, and I'm just really pushing that. If I have to take a little bit of time out of my day, help them advertise why running is good for you, I'm in. Just. I don't think, I'm worried that a club will hold us back. If we decide to make it, and I think it could be a team, I think we could have a good team at Siren. These kids are tougher than some of the other schools around here. I'm a little biased. So,
No matter what this year, it can't be a team.
I know, I get that, but I think that we switched.
Well, you know, the way it works, it is a JV team. They will come across, he'll take his own numbers down, you know, it doesn't count a different way. And he can show them how they actually pan out compared to everybody else anyway. It feels like a regular meet, it's just, they don't get to count because we don't have.
It might be good for him to be like that,
Yeah.
because there's pressure on him the first year.
It's true.
So Jeff put a budget together in that and talked about volunteer coaching, right, Jeff?
Yep.
So, I mean, is that something the board is, you know, typically we pay our coaches, if it's a JV team, like, that's something the board,
I'm saying this year, what I just said was what he proposed, which is volunteer.
so volunteer coaching with, the district compensating for travel.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we have to pay an
And,
entry fee if we.
We pay for meats, though, don't we? Yeah,
It's on that, it's about 75, depends on how big the meat is. But we wouldn't be invited to very many big ones anyway, just because we're a gate, so.
And I know the cost isn't significant, we didn't budget for that sort of thing, but we didn't know it's coming, just so you're aware.
And then as it, as it proceeds there, then by January, we should have a really good idea of how well it's gonna go the next year, and then we can make decisions and make it an official team. By going through the club, I think that makes it delayed another year after that. I don't like the club idea.
What do you think of the delay it if we go club?
With that,
We do go club.
I don't think you're gonna get participants in the club. You may get some, but, and I think it would have to be done before January for the roll, because it has to be approved by WIA by early February, so it'd have to start in,
Probably
November. Yeah,
we'll see how the team does.
Yeah.
What do you?
Can I speak on this topic?
Yeah, that's what we're gonna ask.
Because
What do you
I don't
think?
understand how it's gotten this part without me being involved, not tonight,
You're right,
but since.
sure.
This should be me presenting it to you and not Jeff. Jeff should have presented it to me and I should bring it to you guys, in my opinion, the way it should work, because I speak for the athletic department. I thought that was my job, but if it's not my job, then I apologize. I have good pros and cons behind it. I think I'm totally not against cross country. I just think the timeline to be effective, to get it to promoted, to get kids signed up and everything for this fall is not there. Because we would have to hire coaches. We can't, if we're gonna have a program that wants to be a JV program, they should have to be hired through the school. You know what I mean? They should have to, they're gonna have to follow every chain of command that we would have to add a program, such as I run for basketball or hockey or track or everything else is gonna have to be followed through. If they were a club that wanted to do it on their own, such as soccer, where I have nothing to do with who plays, who coaches, who does whatever, then I think go ahead, go do it. But if you're talking about adding a JV program here, it has to be run through our athletic department.
So what's your real concern here? Because we already have the chain of command set up. You're at the athletic director, and maybe you're right, you should have gone to you first, absolutely. But what's the concern? I mean, if we have everything set up for all the other programs, why can't you just have this program scoot in? I'm asking because I don't know. I really want to know. What would it affect?
Right, he shouldn't, the coach doesn't schedule. I schedule everything. Do you know what I mean? Jeff's talked about talking to the WIA and talking to, that should be what I do as the athletic director.
And I'm not saying you're wrong.
Right, I'm not
But we're past
arguing.
that already.
Because I agree with Jeff and I agree with the people at the committee. I think there's kids out there that don't do volleyball and don't do football, would do great at cross country. I just think the viable timeline is not, you're saying 2 weeks. Can we promote it, get it out there, get the kids that we want to play and have practice starting in 2 to 3 weeks? Hire coaches, figure out uniforms, figure out transportation, get a schedule set, because right now we are in no meets and everything else. It's the time crunch is my major concern that I have.
I mean, I've seen some crazy things happen in a little bit of time when you really want it. It just depends on how bad he wants it, I guess. Jeff's still right.
But he's not the one that does. want it.
Well, I know,
mean,
I get
But
it.
Jeff would actually try to figure out the meet he wants to go to, present it to.
but Ryan still has to schedule.
Well, I can, all I have to do is send out an email. I can give him a list of 17 meets that if they still have openings.
I can get that list, but
I think what we should do is you guys should talk about this and then let's figure it out like real quick because maybe there's some toes stepped on here or something going
Well,
on.
I'm just saying,
Well, I know
if
there
you
is.
don't agree to JV tonight, the season will start before the next time you meet.
I know.
So moving forward, it's gotta be a yes, we're doing JV and go schedule me some meets and here we go. Or it's yes, we're doing a club and the school's out of it. That's all I need to know moving forward.
I'm all about doing it. I just want to make sure you two are okay.
We're fine. I coach track with them, we're good that way, I want everything to be set up for success, not just thrown together just to have. it. That's my major concern.
I think this is a step to success. To do it this way. To try to start it earlier and you go, all of a sudden we're going, boom, we're in it. For varsity and JV, I think you'll find it might be the opposite effect. I think this is the strongest way to start out. And then we can go to the next one.
I'm all for it. I like jumping in the pool. Sometimes you just gotta jump in the pool.
Okay, I have a motion by Jim, seconded by Dave. Is there any further discussion? Being none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Myself. 3 to 2. David, were you a
Can
yes?
I might kind of want to abstain because I just feel like it almost needs to be tabled, but there's not time to table it. I guess I'm for it then.
So 3 to 2.
So this is JV only then? Just want to make sure we get it
Yes.
right. So
It can't be anything else.
just for the minutes now. So JV only, are we following our
budget?
program? Are we paying our coaches?
No,
Okay,
we're doing what it says on the paper. we got.
okay,
the
now what about
budget is-
scheduling? What about scheduling for,
If you agree to it tonight,
Ryan
I
has some.
will go schedule them X number of meets on my, well, I gotta hire coaches then. Are we
No.
taking them as volunteers or do I gotta
We're just
post?
doing volunteers.
Yeah. just-
No, I don't know. If it's a sport, we
If
cannot.
it's a sport, I
It
have
has
to
be
post it, we have
posted.
to interview, we
That's
have to do all that stuff, we can't just
Post
assign.
and volunteer.
Maybe we have somebody on, I'm just telling, you tell me what to do.
Because we always posted it so that internal candidates have a chance first. And then open, but it will be volunteers, so I'm guessing we're not gonna have a whole lot of interest, to be perfectly honest, but all positions at the school have to be posted.
And Jeff
We are-
and Tim are on staff because they both coach here, so they will be,
They can,
they can
yes,
apply, yes.
yes.
It can be
As the
posted
intern.
as volunteers
Yes.
only.
That's the way I,
Yes.
if that's, if
Okay.
that's what you instruct me to do, that's
Yes,
what
the
it'll be
coaches
posted.
are volunteer only. We don't have any money to pay them in the budget.
so volunteer only, they'll be posted internally.
And if you.
Yeah, I'll post it tonight
And
when
you
you
fill
home.
them the way you always fill them.
Yeah.
You know, you guys do that, we don't do that.
I'll fill ASAP on it, I'll leave it open. We usually leave it open for 2 weeks.
Okay, now, in here, there's 5 to 6 meets, so we'll do a maximum of 6 meets,
Yes.
Yes, it's what that
Okay.
says, and that's the budget,
roughly at that,
roughly a
At that cost.
$600 budget, yeah.
okay?
And we'll see, maybe we'll get more people than I
No,
think.
it's paid for by the school.
I personally feel it's rushed,
But
but
if
that's my
we-
personal opinion. In past, we're going with
But
it.
if we crash and burn, what do we lose? We're giving these kids
$600.
We lose
No, and I think the
$600
last time we
Rejected
tried, the
kids.
last time we had cross country, I think we were still doing 11-man football too,
Yeah,
because there was nothing else.
we had enough people the year before,
Okay.
and then also we only had 2.
All right,
We did
it's
it.
past, we're gonna move on. We gotta keep going, guys.
Okay,
Next thing, credit card adjustment. This is the approval, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what we need is, a motion to remove Daryl and Lean from the credit cards and put Jamie, correct?
Make a motion to take those two off, managing on.
Second.
We have a motion by Kelly, seconded by Jim.
Great, Laura, that's why you need it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Educational options, academic standards.
okay. Carolina, you take it?
Oh, sorry. No, that's me.
Okay,
Every year in July, we need to bring forward our educational options that Siren Schools offers to all families in grades pre-K through 12. Below, you can see there's links to our report cards that we offer, which are also on our website as a click on. And then it just shows some of the programming that we do offer all the way through. And it's just a yearly update that we need to make in our programs. So at this time, there haven't been any changes, but
I just need a motion to approve the educational options academic standards.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jamie, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Roll 345.6, mortar boards for graduation. So this is simply adding to the policy that we allow the decoration of mortar boards with the exact same specifications that we have had for the last however many years. It's just gonna be in a policy versus just an approved procedure. So it will be in writing from now on out in a approved format.
Part of that was made because of the questions about feathers being young and Native American students. That's why we accept graduation for us approved by the school.
Make a motion to approve the 345.6.
I have a motion by Kelly, seconded by Dave. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Policy 431 update.
Do you want to bring this back to policy since it's got that verbiage that the students can leave any class period if they want versus certain class
Was
periods?
that corrected?
The corrections were made.
Oh,
Oh, it's changed to the advisory for this instead of any hearing. So this came to policy and planning. We had one issue with it where it said they were allowed to leave 1 hour, but it didn't specify what hour. They have now changed it so that it reads the advisory period is the period of time that kids are allowed to leave. Under 18 must have parental approval. Over 18 is allowed to do it on their own. And then the 12th graders would be allowed to leave half days if they have their credits all in line.
Make a motion to approve policy 431.
Second.
A motion by Kelly, seconded by Dave to approve policy 431 update. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Reporting in the workplace.
Okay, so we discussed this at policy and the School Board Association said school boards may implement this policy. So I just threw it out to the policy committee just to see how it would work in terms of whether they want to go this route or not. Not a hill for me to die on. The statute basically recommends one person know that there's a recording going on. I was just kind of pushing for both parties to know that there was a recording going on. And I'm not so sure that if it went to court legally, that this policy would stand up versus the statute. So it was just something we would enforce in-house. So whatever the board decides to do on recording. I just felt like I didn't want to be in a room, nor would I want a parent in a room with the other party recording them without them. But in the state of Wisconsin, you don't have to let the other party know.
So you're pushing to both
You
parties
just,
know.
Bob,
That within the building, you would be
Just
required to ask the
recommended.
other party's permission before you would record.
yeah, if there was a recording going on, I would have to let you know and you would have to let me know. But like I said, I don't know that that would play in court.
Well, it works for our people. If they don't tell the other person, they're violating policy and they're in trouble with us.
Our people.
Our
yes.
people, but the others, you're probably right. We'll
Yeah,
hold them in court.
What do you mean by our people?
Well,
If any of these people
employees.
Yeah,
decided
if it's in our
to
policy
record
handbook.
somebody else and didn't tell them they're recording them,
It would be against
it'd
school
be
policy.
against our school
The
policy.
own school policy,
And they
so
could
then-
get punishment for loss.
Right,
But there's nothing we're gonna be able to do.
Can't do it. for
but
the-
lawfully, there's, right, and I did talk to 3 different counties on this, and nobody would push it because it's the state statute. So it would have to be just a school.
What happens with our police school liaison officers that if they are opting to record something? How does that?
They don't have to tell. That's the state law. They
Yeah,
don't
I
have to.
I
They can just
understand that.
record
You're
without the
saying
other
because
party
they're in the
knowing.
school,
and-
which
Because they're in the school.
Right.
Where does that go with this policy?
So if the
Well,
officers here,
technically, the only thing this really does is it just, if you feel it's the right thing to do, you should let the other people know, but in the end of the day, it's not gonna matter. That's really.
It
what
might,
is.
it might if a school employee reports something that.
Right,
It'll
But
matter
let's
to the
say
school
I
employee
come
in the
in-
end.
that's the
Yes,
police
that's what I'm-
officer.
but if I come in just as a parent,
Mhm.
nothing happens to me. If I'm like, yep, I just reported that, and didn't have his permission, nothing can happen to me if I'm
Correct,
not.
because legally.
And that's just where it seems
So
funny
that's
to me,
where
like,
it's-
I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna record so-and-so without letting them know, and I don't know, it's just,
Because that's what they know is the statute. I think that's where you're.
so, yeah, the statute wins, so.
Right.
But I like the idea of it being a thing because, just because it is, doesn't mean it's not the right. thing.
I'm not sure what teeth it would have with it, though. I mean, we could
I don't
enforce
either,
it
but
as
I
a
still think
policy.
that it is a matter of respect,
That's fine.
in my opinion. So we could ask, I mean, obviously, we all know we can't enforce it
Right.
to the general public, but we could still ask them, you know, if you're gonna record us, we like that you let us know you're gonna do that. I mean, I don't think
I
there's
guess
anything wrong in
it
that.
saves you from a student, I guess. If my son came in, it would be a policy, it would save you from him not recording because it'd be your policy.
Well, this is for employees and visitors, not necessarily students. Students have their own policies. This wasn't intended for students. This was
Well, if you had a student and a parent that were there, I mean, I
correct,
think the right thing to do based on this would be let them know, hey, I'm gonna turn the recorder on.
correct.
Yeah.
And I
That's
would
what
like
you're
to think
saying,
that
you
we
don't
would do
want-
that anyway, because if we're recording a minor, whether the law says we have to or not, I feel like we should have permission to do that. I wouldn't like if someone was recording my child without me knowing.
Right, and that's basically what I'm saying. But
And I
it's up
guess
to
I
the
would
board, so
expect
it's up to you.
the same. I mean, if I came in and I said, Carrie, not comfortable with this meeting, I want to record it, just so that nothing can be misunderstood, I would expect you to say, okay. And I can record it, and you can record it too, so that you can make sure I don't mess with my record. Do you see what I'm
But
saying?
now she says no, so then what do you do?
Then I wouldn't record it. Then I'd say,
You
could I
would.
bring someone else in then so that they can be a witness to our conversation? I mean, there are other ways to do it. You can't force someone. Right. But I just think it's nice wording.
It keeps honest people honest, and I think it's respectful to do. So I'm for it.
So do I have a motion to add it to the handbook language?
Yeah, if we could do separate, do you want it,
What do you want to do?
It's
Two
in
different
both.
ones?
No, this is the visitors and employees.
I know that I'm asking if it would also be in.
They would have to bring that separate because it's not been brought forward.
Okay.
Through policy. So if it's a student thing, it has to go back through policy because it hasn't been discussed yet.
So technically the students could still do it, be in no trouble as of now. Sure.
I don't know what's in their handbook right now.
I think
I'd have
it's,
to read it. I think it's already in
It says
there.
they can't report.
I think it's already in
During
the
school
student
hours.
handbook.
They just said during school.
I don't know.
So if I have a meeting after school, you know, I think that's what we need to look at that then too.
Okay. So I have a motion by Dave, seconded by Jim. I'm sorry.
How does this apply to things like performances and like concerts, music recitals, et cetera?
It doesn't. We announced before those things.
You can have a
Does
form.
Concert or something like that.
you have a
Public-
form
the
for
public
parents to fill out if they
performances are-
prefer not to have the child recorded?
Then we say you can't, but yeah, there are certain things you can't. There are certain classes that, for example, at the Christmas concert, that might be performing and we might say, we're sorry, you cannot record this particular performance. And that's a parental choice. We can't control that. If a parent says no, it's no. Okay, so recording in the workplace to the employee handbook and the public visitors language. I have a motion by Dave, seconded by Jim. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so 4-1.
So just to clarify, Jamie and I are adding that language to our visitors section in our handbooks.
Correct. And to the employee section of that.
Yes, that's.
Yeah, I'll
that.
take,
Okay.
That's
Okay,
that.
you're only
I'll
here.
take care of that.
I'm with you now.
I'm only
Okay.
hearing about.
Okay. All right, board change discussion.
just right
All right, I'm gonna pass out another.
here.
Please. Does anyone else need one of these? Does everyone else have one of these? copies?
Nobody's got it.
Nobody's got it. Okay. I have a couple more copies if anyone needs one. All the board members have one, correct? Okay. So this came about basically because I had a discussion with Kevin. As you may be aware, we are having serious issues with maintaining a 7-member board. We've had countless people in the last couple of years resign, we fill a position, they don't run. Again, then a position opens again, then we're appointing people again. And again, now we have another resignation that we have to appoint a person to. In my opinion, there are not 7 interested people in running for the Siren School Board. We cannot get 7 people on this board. We have not had 7 people in some time because people keep resigning as soon as they get here. So we talked with some other people at WASB. A board in the size of our school can have anywhere from 3 to 7 members. Am I correct, Kevin? 3 to 7? We have 7, which is the most. Frederick, which is the most similar school in size to ours, has 5. Pardon me? Okay. So I asked Kevin to research what is the procedure to cut the board members from 7 to 5. There are a couple of things that have to be done. First of all, the board would have to vote to cut the board, but we cannot do it on our own. Then at that point, we would be required to take out a petition and have 100 signatures as a minimum of voting people in the school district who would agree to the cut. If we get those signatures, we then present that to the electors at the county, which is basically the county clerk, and she would file that notification. What would then happen is we would cut 1 person at each of the next 2 elections. So for example, in April of this year, we will have 3 positions open. We would cut. So only 2 people would be elected. The
It
next
doesn't say
election,
that. There's a mistake.
there's a mistake in what?
There's not 3 people. You got 5 people not up for reelection. It should be one of those. Yeah, for reelection. Jamie's position, she's only put in for 1 year, then that position has to be
I'm aware of
for
that.
another year. But then we also have Brandon's and then mine.
Correct, that's 3 positions.
But you got 3 and 5 listed here is not for reelection. Should be 3 of them that are up for.
Yeah, this is just a general,
Yeah,
okay?
I'm just-
This is just to show you who's being eliminated. This is not to show you what's.
Yeah, you
So
guys,
this year,
Jim, you guys decide on the plan of how you wanna.
I know, I'm just saying that actually there is, there's 3
there will
people
be
being
3
elected.
seats up for election this year.
But
We would cut 1 of them,
But we would have two people being elected anyway.
correct?
So one of those positions would eliminate, and seat C would be up for reelection. But it's only for the 1 year.
Correct,
That's
correct.
That's
So
what I'm
then
saying.
next year again, there would be
would be.
3 seats up for election, because the 2 that are supposed to be, plus the 1 that's elected this year to fill that 1-year term.
One would disappear, but 2 up for reelection. Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying. Like the position Jamie's in right now would disappear, and the other 2 would be.
What is mine?
Because yours is the one that's.
No, it would not, it's
I'm
not. a
trying to look at
person.
seats and not people.
So there are
Yeah.
3 open seats
So-
at the election in April of 2023. Because of change,
And 2 would be
okay?
elected.
So 2 people would be elected, getting rid of 1 seat. The next year, we would have people up for election again, and we would eliminate 1 of the seats again, which would bring us down to 5, which would be, going forward, there would be 2 people elected a year, 2 people a year, 1 year, there'd only be 1 person up. Where now we have 2, 2, and 3, it would go to 2, 2, and 1. But we can't cut 2 seats at one time, that's against policy, so we would take 1 away this year and 1 away in the next election, which would be 5 seats remaining,
Correct.
And
okay?
you would have a
Good job.
6-member board for a year. I clarified that with Bob.
Yes, we would have to have
It
a
would-
6-member board for 1 year, providing nobody resigns in the meeting.
So in the next election, 1 person would be elected for a 3-year term.
Correct,
1 would be elected for a 1-year term, and that'd be it.
yes,
And the people, we gotta So we can't do this, but the people are gonna push.
Correct. We make we would vote to do it,
Yeah.
okay? Then what happens is we get a petition signed by 100 people. Then it still has to go to the annual meeting and be voted by the electors based on the petition that has 100 signatures.
Correct.
Once we have the annual meeting, the electors have all power at that meeting, not the board. Board has zero power at that meeting. The electors at that meeting can then say yes or no to going forward based on the fact that we have a petition and we have. Now, if we don't get 100 signatures on a petition, it cannot go before the annual meeting. So there are several steps that have to take place to make sure that the people in the community are aware of what we're trying to do and what the reasoning behind it is. So the first step in this procedure, which we need to start if we're going to do it, because the annual meeting is in October, okay? Is for this board to vote, yes, we would like to look at changing the number, at which point we would do the petitioning. And then we would bring the petition to the annual meeting. If it's voted on at the annual meeting, then it goes to the county clerk to implement at election time. Basically, it would just be, people would be pretty much on 2 committees instead of some people are on 1 committee.
You could have a committee of the whole too. I mean,
Yes,
you could-
the other thing is, and actually Grantsburg, I believe, is doing it, and Webster with 7-member
Webster.
boards right now.
Yeah, Webster.
Is you have 1 meeting on the middle of the month, which is a working meeting, and that is when anything that would normally come before a committee comes, but you do not vote on it. You just listen to the input at that meeting, and then you vote on it at your monthly meeting at the end of the month. So it could do away with committees completely, or that would be a decision for the board once it's cut down to me.
Well, let's see if we cut it down. So I'm.
Okay, so you want to make that motion, Dave? So Dave is making a motion to move forward with reducing the board to 5 members.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I have a motion by Dave, seconded by Kelly. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying
I have
aye.
a question
Yes.
though, with
Okay,
so right now, just so I'm clear on this.
yes,
So right now we're gonna have 2 that were just re-nominated. So that was you and Dwayne, like who's up for election in 2025?
2024.
I don't know. We just
So-
had an election in 2022, so they carried
2020
from 2022 to 2025.
Right,
No.
but that's the people that have, one of them's already resigned.
Okay, I guess I'm just wondering, like, do we have anybody current on the board that's like gonna maintain the next 3 years that isn't up to lose their seat?
No, everybody will be up within 3
Or will
years.
Dave
Yeah.
still?
No, everybody,
David, they were the latest selection.
right, but he's still gonna ask to be elected in the 3rd year.
Yeah, and that's, so we would
Everybody's
follow
term
that
is over 3
cycle.
years.
But-
You're different because you were appointed.
No,
So
yeah.
you're finishing the year and then we were gonna eliminate one of those positions that was an appointee.
In effect, so this year, we have 3
Already using
people
names.
on the ballot for 2
I
positions.
said a
In
position.
effect, say the person who doesn't get elected, which the person with the least votes, can run next year. I mean, it doesn't take away your ability to run another term. Because the following year, I think I'm up. One of the people that are elected this year is gonna be up. And I think Kelly is gonna be up. And out of those, only 1 person is gonna have a seat. You see what I'm saying? And so the 2 that don't get elected have the right to run again in the next election, which
This
would
might
be
not even
Dave.
happen. People might not even.
Right, we may not get 100 vote signatures, and if we do, it still has to pass the annual meeting.
And so we just
So
wanna
it's
make
the
sure
only
you
way to
guys
find
were
out if
okay
the
with
community's
this
interested in
process.
doing it or not.
We wanna make sure you're
Right.
okay with the process and it
Yes.
was clear.
And I just feel like we've spent a lot of time trying to find people to fill seats.
Since I've been.
And it's, in my opinion, a waste of our time to spend our time sitting here trying to figure out how to fill seats at each meeting. And we've done a lot of it.
Ever since I've been here. I've only been here for like a meeting.
Okay, so. Any more questions? Okay, yes. So a motion by Dave, seconded by Kelly. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So we will work at putting together a petition and seeing if we can get 100 signatures. All right, meeting calendars, budget, finance, and personnel. do we usually, the next regular meeting is the 22nd, which is the fourth Monday. It's a little bit early, that's good, because that's before school starts, if we need to make any last minute hiring decisions. So that's good that it's not the day school starts. That has happened before, it's not necessarily a good thing.
I don't think that's gonna work for me, but that's fine.
Okay, it's the 22nd, it's always the fourth Monday. Unless,
22nd does not work for you?
But I mean. I'm just not being here.
I mean, we do have the 29th.
no, that's the first day of school.
We do it.
Oh, okay, yeah,
23rd,
yeah,
we
yeah,
can't
sorry.
do a Tuesday, we need to do it.
Gotcha.
We can do it Tuesday, but we have to make a decision
Yeah, we've done it Tuesday before.
recently.
It's fine if you guys wanna stay the 22nd, I'm just saying,
August
I more or
23rd.
less won't be here.
I don't know.
I don't know, it's probably either Tuesdays.
Yeah.
it's gonna be better.
We could be changing it.
But I
Well,
don't know either one.
that's just it, I,
Right.
you know, I don't know. If we move it, then what if Dwayne can't come? Then it's the same thing, it's one person, you know? I'm not opposed to moving it, don't misunderstand, but
Nope, I get what you're saying.
I think we need to be consistent.
Yeah, you guys can stick with that, I'm just saying, like, I already know that I like. That's fine.
okay, all right, okay,
Oh,
so let's move on to budget, finance, and personnel. Jim,
So Peggy,
yes,
the week of the 15th is the only week I'm available.
you're unavailable?
I am available the week of the
Okay.
15th through the 19th. I will be
Okay.
out the 8th.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, I'm mostly unavailable that week, except for, is there any chance that we can do it during the day on the 16th?
I can do it during the day. I don't like.
Can
7
you guys
o'clock
do
in
it
the
at-
morning.
The day
On the 16th.
for budget and finance? No. Okay, does that work? Can you guys do like a 9 AM? Does that work for you?
That
I can
would
do
do
9.
1 o'clock.
I'm on vacation that whole week and I'm gonna be in town that day, that's what I'm saying. If we're gonna do it that week, we're gonna do it that day.
She's saying 9.
Anybody know what Dwayne's schedule? I don't know what days he works.
I don't either, so we may end up having to move it anyway, but with that being the only
Do you
week
know
available.
Dwayne's schedule? I can't think of what his hour, I should,
think
I
he
think
might
you're
be
either.
out.
He doesn't work.
weekends,
I
yeah.
got Tuesdays were good.
Yeah, I think that's okay for him. I don't.
Okay, let's go 9 AM on the 16th for budget and finance. Yes,
Tuesday. August 16th.
okay,
That work with you?
and I'm quite certain building and grounds is gonna need to be that close to the opening of school in case there's any last minute issues. Is that correct?
Yeah, who, that's you?
And me,
And Dwayne,
choose
I
the time
like-
for you.
I
I'm
like
good.
mornings. I'm more, let's
Is
do it.
another
4
9
a.m.,
o'clock start sometime or
4 a.m., 5 a.m.
how about 10 AM on the same day?
Okay. I'll do that. You
16?
Twisted my life. Yeah.
okay, 10 o'clock for building, grounds and transportation, that should work fine for Craig too. That should be a good time for
And
him.
hopefully it works. for you.
Yeah, if that date doesn't work for Dwayne, obviously we have to change both of those two meetings. He's gotta be a boss. Okay, policy, planning and curriculum. Do we need to meet?
Trying to think if there's anything that needs to be, I mean, handbooks are set.
Yeah. I don't
Is there
think so.
anything other than?
And if it could be pushed off, I'm like, just because I'm saying that, we only got 1 week in next week.
What about the support staff salary schedule?
Budget?
Budget, okay.
Okay, all right then, so how, and then we have the regular meeting on the 22nd, so we're good. So policy planning will not meet in August. If something urgent
Yeah,
comes
well,
out,
to
you'll
be
contact.
determined, to be determined.
Okay, great. So let's move forward to the approval of the bills. The vouchers have been signed, the statement of all the bills is in the packet.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A motion by Jim, seconded by Kelly to approve the payment of the bills. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, motion carried. I see no items for board signature, Lisa, is that correct?
No, so just the vouchers and you already did those.
Okay. So at this time, we'll convene to closed session under Wisconsin State Statute 19.851 C, E, F, and G to consider the employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, considerations of financial, medical, social, or personal information, and to confer with legal counsel concerning oral or written advice. Do I have the motion? Motion by Jamie, seconded by Kelly to go to close. Dave, if you'll call the roll, please.
All their names.
Look, drop.
Here,
Oh, yes.
yes, sorry, yes.
James Mackey,
Yes.
Jamie Thompson,
Yes.
Peggy Moore.
Yes.